This is going to be more of a serious conversation that we should have. And you might want to kick back and grab some popcorn because I'm going to be about 15 minutes on this one. I know I've done longer, but this one could be a little shorter because I'm going to get straight to the point here. This one goes out to all the Hebrews out there that newly understand that they're Hebrew, that have been lost in this country, in the United States of America, if you didn't know what country I'm in, and abroad in other countries on the four corners of the earth. I want you to give yourself a round of applause. Yeah, give yourself a round of applause. Understand something. I want you to picture that moment that 95% of us have been waiting for. And that's total freedom. I mean, that goes for the other 5% of you coons out there that are cooning with these demons and falling into their ways. It says in the Bible that you don't be like the heathen. Don't follow the path of the heathen. Basically, don't follow the Gentiles. It also says we are a set apart people. And I think you've forgotten that. Some of you guys have forgotten that we are a set apart people for a reason. And that is biblically and scripturally how it's supposed to be. They will turn on you as fast as you can blink. I've seen it and I've been through it. Anyways, I want you guys to give yourself a round of applause. And this is what I mean by that. Understand something. If you've read the curses in Deuteronomy, you understand how that played out. And we, my friends, are the last generation of these curses. And you have lived through the tail end of these curses. We are the seed that was born from turmoil and pain. We are the children and the grandchildren and the great-great-great-great-great-grandchildren of the slaves that made it. Because a lot of us didn't. This pains me to talk about, how serious this situation is. We were taken from our homeland hundreds of years ago to be chained up, beaten, maimed, crushed, stabbed, shot. And our kids and our children go through the same thing in a land that has hated us for 400 years. Think about that for a minute. Some of us are so broken and that we are so buck broken that we would rather side with the enemy to feel accepted than to live in your truth of who you are. Let me remind you something. Waking up every day and knowing that some kind of reaction is going to come from our white and even Latino and even Asian counterparts, because white supremacy has a tendency to parachute things. Everyone wants to fit in so much, they would rather do the one thing that some of them, quite frankly, just don't want to do, but they do it because it is a form of white supremacy. And it is to hate the black man. You can be cordial sometimes, is what they'll do. And they'll put on a good smiley face. But the majority don't like us. What was real big during the Trump era was, oh, it's not everybody. It's only, only a few. The majority are good, when they were talking about police. Well, I say to police, and I say to the large majority of those people, I say the large majority is not good, and the minority are decent people. You can judge me if you want to, but you haven't been in my shoes and you haven't seen what I've seen. And most of you that would judge me probably aren't black. Because if you were, you would know what I mean. So give yourself a round of applause. Because you, my friend, are a shining star. You, my friend, are the seed that made it over 400 years, and our time is almost over. I keep on having this picture in my head of walking into a different country. But let's just say it's Africa. Now, keep in mind that the promised land, that was promised to Abraham, all this land is Africa. It's Canaan. For sure. I mean, people might say it's Palestine, but I don't think you've read the Bible properly. It's Canaan. That's also where the Garden of Eden is. Canaan is in Africa. You see, bits and pieces of Hebrews left Israel, or the land of Israel, or Palestine back then. I don't think it was even called Israel, to go to Africa. During the Exodus, it was a few different times. And by the time Jesus got to Jerusalem, a lot of us were already in Africa. But there were still some Israelites there because, of course, he had 12 disciples. And the rest were Israelites there as well. But a large majority of us had already been in Africa and already migrated there during a different Exodus. And when God was speaking to Abraham in Genesis, he was speaking to him in Africa. Interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. I bet if a lot of you guys did your ancestry, let me just say, first off, I did mine. And I was trying to put all these pieces together of what I've been researching, just to make sure I'm not speaking out my tail end here. Now, keep in mind, I'm a black man. Of course, I've got some mixture or whatnot, but majority black, from Los Angeles. Mom's from LA. Dad's from LA. Born in LA, live in LA. I look at my DNA. Oh, that's interesting stuff. And it actually followed a timeline of things that you're supposed to see as a Hebrew. And I was watching this documentary on YouTube about exactly what would be in us. And I wrote it down. And when I did my ancestry, I was blown away to see that everything in that timeline was there. Right on down to Egyptian, right on down to Yemen, right on down to Morocco, right on down to Jordania or something like that. And then it goes up, and on the black side, it's Bantu. I'm not reading off it right now, but I'm trying to do it from memory. It's Bantu, Lemba, Pygmy, Khoisan, and something else, African, I can't remember now, Nigerian, I believe it was. And then on the other side, there's Mexican, Puerto Rican. But what's funny is Portugal's there. Portugal, Mexican, Puerto Rican, Castonian, and a few more Indian tribes, which, whatever. So, funny enough, everything that is supposed to be there from the Hebrewic side is there. And also in my genome carries everything that would be there. I have a J lineage haplo, which is Jewish or Middle Eastern. I have the E1B1, which most of you will have as well. And I also have the, interesting enough, A00, a very rare one that mostly only black people carry. But everything's there. It lines up. How would I get all that Middle Eastern in me? Think about that. Well, the Israelites knew, and they knew. They know who we are, because we are them. And we have to take hold of that and understand that this is the new reality. This is the reality of who you are as a person. This is the reality that you need to come to grips with and stop losing your history. You see, they've fooled us into thinking that we weren't nothing. We were just slaves. When you go to school, they talk about slaves and nothing. You don't get anything else. Everyone else in the world knew where they came from. My white friends had pictures of their family from hundreds of years ago or something like that. I've actually seen that a few times. And I never had any pictures of my family. Maybe a few pictures of, grandparents and stuff. But as far as knowing my roots, it was a bunch of stories. I actually thought I was something else for a very long time until I actually saw that thing. A lot of black people, we tried to live off of other people's identities for a long time. If we thought it made sense or we thought we kind of looked like them, then that's what we were. In the 90s, I feel like everybody was Puerto Rican. What happened to that? Yeah, you mother. Big Pun had everybody Puerto Rican. Jennifer Lopez. And then it was Dominican. And then it was whatever. So I think a lot of us were trying to connect somewhere. Because, quite frankly, we had no connection with anything. And to finally find a connection that's solid, but still a large portion of the planet doesn't believe it yet because they're just ignorant. They don't want to. There's such a stigma against us. They don't want to believe that yet. How could they be the ancient relatives of the Hebrews? And even in that, come on, that's huge. But that's why they were trying to hide it from you for so long. Own who you are. Know who you are. Earlier, I was telling you about this reoccurring dream that I kept on having, and it was walking off into a land that's ours, and I'm going to say it's Africa. Sorry, my mind got totally forgot to finish this, but I feel like it's Africa. And with that being said, walking in, I don't know what that feeling would feel like because we've been so disconnected for so long. We've been lost from our promised land and from our help and from decency, from protection, from love for so long. A lot of our brothers and sisters out there don't know how to receive it. They call you ghetto. They call you wild. They call you animal. They call you nigger. They call you every byword in the book. They make you seem like animals across the world. When in actuality, we are some of the most docile people on the planet, but we are a product of our environment. We are a product of what we've been turned into. We are a product of survival. We are a product of hatred. We are a product of maliciousness. We are a product of injustices. We are a product of death. And you wonder why I walk down the street with that hardened look. You wonder why sometimes I'm all giddy and smiley. You wonder why I don't get around you and I'm just not all happy all the time. Well, let me tell you something. A lot of you out there, if you were to walk around in a black suit for 30 days, would not make it to your 30 days, especially if you thought you had to live with that suit forever. You dumb yourself. You're not ready for that. Especially being white. You wouldn't even know how to handle it. You're so used to doors being open for you and it's just a different interaction. You wouldn't know how it is. You couldn't handle it at all. Guarantee you. You guys kill yourself for worse stuff than that. Less stuff than that. You couldn't handle being black. 100%. No matter how much trash you talk right now. Blah, blah, blah. No, bullshit. No, you couldn't. It's a tough thing having to wake up every single day against the ball. But anyways. All right, so you're in Africa. And getting out that plane, and keep in mind that Africans are very docile people. They're not like us. Let me just say that right now. And I hope some Africans are listening to this. We have similar traits, okay? We are definitely brothers, but we are a separate bunch of people. I'll just say that we have been through a lot. And whatever damage that has been done to our ancestors is within our DNA as well. So we are a little bit more tense. We are a little bit more aggressive. We are a little bit more poppy, a little poppy. There are some things we're a little bit more go. We're not so, we kind of push things. We get things done a little faster. Yeah. It's a little different. I've seen how, the native Africans move, and we're a little different. So just get ready for that. And just understand that you might have to be patient with that, because some of our brothers and sisters out here are very much scorned. And, that's a whole different thing, dealing with those ones. So be kind to them. Be understanding. Because if you were taken from your home and were sojourning in the land for 400 years and had been through some of the stuff that these people have been through, you surely would understand as well. Anyways, I truly want to say God bless you to everyone, especially the Hebrews. And you guys are a strong and amazing bunch of people. God bless you in everything that is to come. And may God open up the gates of prosperity, health, hope, and abundance towards you and your family. May Yeshua guard you. May Yahuwah protect you. And again, once more, I want you to be blessed from the top of your heads on down to the soles of your feet. In the name of Yeshua HaMashiach. Amen.